There are so many tools now out in the marketplace to choose from when you're looking at creating a mosaic, and it can be a little bit daunting as to what tool does what. Well, in this video, I'm going to go through quite a number of those tools, and I'm going to tell you what those tools do. So anyway, let's get into the video. Now let's start with the double-wheeled nippers. Now these ones here are the Lepinit brand double-wheeled nipper, and they're a good all-round double-wheeled nipper. They cut glass, crockery and tile as well as other materials, and there are other brands in the marketplace, but I find this Lepinit brand has worked really well for me. And of course they all range in different prices. Now this double-wheeled nipper is the QEP Extreme double-wheeled nippers, and these have been specifically designed to cut glass and mirror only. They are very light and very comfortable, and I find that certainly if you have weak wrists or any issues with your wrists or fingers or hands, then these are going to be a lot easier to use than others out in the marketplace. Now these ones are a glass mosaic cutter, and these cut glass, and I'm not sure whether they cut any other materials. They may do. They have a safety shield on the side there that actually stops the pieces from flying across the room once you've cut them. Now it's just a matter of actually just squeezing the handles together to actually cut the glass. Now these are the Monolith nippers 55W2. Now these are suitable for cutting harder materials such as crockery, porcelain, smalty and tiles, and they'll cut between 5 to 10 millimeters thick. Now they'll also cut glass, but it does need to be 4 millimeters because these rubber grommets here do not allow the nippers to close close enough to cut 3 millimeter stained glass. Now these are the Monolith crab nippers 33W, and these have been designed to cut ceramic up to 15 millimeters thick. Now, due to the design of the forward-facing wheels, it will create a different type of cut compared to other double-wheeled nippers. Now, these are the Breeder double-wheeled nippers, and they've been ergonomically designed to cut glass only. They are lightweight and comfortable, and due to their unique design, they can take a little bit of getting used to. As of filming, these nippers are no longer in production, but second-hand ones do come up from time to time. Now these are the scorer breaker pliers, and depending on where you are in the world, they may be called a different name. But these are used for scoring and breaking ceramic or porcelain small tiles, and there is a small wheel on the bottom here, and this allows you to score the tile. And then the other part, being this top part here, allows you to break the tiles once it's been scored. I generally use a glass scorer to score the tile because it gives me greater control than using this particular wheel here. And then I use these to actually break the tile. These are the compound nippers. Now these are generally used on harder materials such as ceramic or porcelain tiles. Now due to the design of the compound nippers, they require less effort than your conventional nippers. And this makes it easy to cut or nibble and shape harder materials. These are side biters and are generally used for cutting straight cuts and shaping tiles. Now they've also been used for cutting and nipping crockery. One side of them is straight and the other side is curved. These are curved nippers, and they're generally used for cutting irregular shapes. The nipper biting edges are both curved, so the cutting force is centered on the bite. I rarely use these due to their design because they can be a little bit hard on the hands. These are concrete pliers, and these are generally used in the concrete industry to nip and twist wire or for cutting and pulling out nails. I like to use them for cutting small pieces of slate to use in mosaics. They come in different sizes, styles and also prices. Now if you're working with glass or mirror, running pliers are a great tool to have. Once you've scored the glass, then you use the running pliers to actually break the glass. Now there are different brands in the marketplace, and there's also different types including metal or plastic. And then we have the Schmidt running pliers. Now these will break glass up to 5 millimeter thick, and these have been designed to give you a greater control when working with curved or more complicated score lines in stained glass. These are the QEP Extreme Offset Scissors. Now these nippers can cut and shape ceramic and porcelain tiles up to 8 millimeters thick, and some people have even used them for cutting and shaping crockery as well. Now this is a roller, and these come in different sizes, and they're very, very handy for rolling out paper or other materials onto a substrate. They're very good at squeezing out any air bubbles and for creating a smooth surface without any wrinkles. This is a diamond hand pad, and these come in very handy when you're wanting to smooth out surfaces or edges when you're working with stained glass, ceramic tiles or crockery. They do come in different grits, and it's always advisable when you're working with one of these that you use water. Now this tool is called a notch trowel, and it's a very handy tool when you're wanting to spread out adhesives. The ridges or the grooves created by the notch trowel help to evenly distribute the adhesive and ensure the right depth for when you're wanting to install a mosaic onto a substrate. Now if you're working with stained glass or mirror, a glass scorer is going to be very important. Now there are different ones sold in the marketplace. These two I have here are pencil grips glass scorers. But like I say, there's quite a number of different ones in the marketplace, so you need to choose one that's going to suit your needs. And then once you've used the glass scorer, that's where you use the breaker pliers to actually then break the glass. Now this tool is called a grozing plier, and they have serrated jaws on each side that allow you to nibble away small pieces of glass along the edges to create precise shapes. They can also be used to break away small sections of glass, so essentially they can be used in two different ways. This is a strip and circle glass scorer. It's a good cost-effective option if you are wanting to create circles or strips of stained glass or mirror. It's lightweight and easy to store and use. I love using mine. This one is the Glasstar brand, but it's no longer being made. However, there is a generic brand available. Now this tool is called a grinder's mate, and this tool can come in handy if you're grinding very small pieces of stained glass or you find it very difficult to hold the piece against the grinding head. This round tool is called a grinder's cookie, and this helps hold the glass against the grinding head but still allows the user to have manoeuvrability with the glass when using it. The inland bandsaw is a machine that can cut out free-form shapes using a diamond saw blade. Some of the materials that this bandsaw can cut through are glass, stone, tile, ceramics and plastic, to name a few. Water is also used from its reservoir to help keep the dust down. Always read the manufacturer's safety and technical information before purchasing to make sure it's going to suit your project or needs. Rubber kidneys or flexible silicone kidneys can come in quite handy when you're grouting. Many people prefer to use this tool to spread and work the grout into the mosaic rather than using gloved hands, especially if there could be sharp pieces in the mosaic. Now there are many different types of spatulas and palette knives in the marketplace, and they range in different sizes and shapes. Now these are great for spreading adhesives or for getting into confined areas when grouting. They are really great to have around the studio, and they will definitely come in quite handy. These micro shear flush cutters are such a great tool for artists that like to add jewellery into their mosaics, or if you're working with wire. These are great to remove the brooch pin or any other part of the jewellery that you may not want to include. I always find a few pairs of these tweezers come in very handy around the studio. They are great for handling very small pieces of tessera, and they come in different sizes and types, so just choose a couple that are going to suit your needs. Stained glass grinders are used to grind down stained glass, and depending on the brand, some can also be used for grinding crockery and ceramic tiles. There are different brands, sizes and price points in the marketplace, so choose one that best suits your needs. A ring saw is a very specialised piece of equipment that allows the end user to cut out intricate shapes in glass, crockery and tile, to name a few. You can cut out your design from any direction depending on the type of blade in your machine. This design eliminates cutting from only one direction like a normal saw does. Cutter's Mate and Cutter's Mate Plus are a free-form glass scorer with a weighted scoring head. So very little pressure is required, if at all any, to score the glass. So it's going to be great for those people that suffer from arthritic hands or issues with their hands or wrists. If you're working with polymer clay or epoxy sculpt, then these cheap rollers can come in quite handy. They allow you to roll out a slab quite evenly so that you can create your own tiles and flowers. This Hasselcam unit is designed for repetitive straight cuts of glass and mirror strips. The design allows you to constantly cut strips of glass, and right-handed and left-handed versions are available. The hammer and hardy is a traditional tool for making mosaics. It generally is used for cutting smalty and stone. The hammer comes in different weights, so it's always best to get one that's going to suit your needs. And there are different versions of the hardy, one that sits on a table and the other sits into a log of wood. The jigsaw is a handy tool if you are going to be cutting and shaping wood such as MDF or marine ply. I also use the jigsaw for cutting and shaping lightweight boards such as Wheatie board or thermosheet. Always read the manufacturer's safety and technical information before purchasing or using a jigsaw to make sure it's going to suit your project or needs. Now, a rubbing stone can also be quite handy around the studio. It's designed to smooth raw, sharp edges on tiles, crockery, glass, porcelain, and other type of materials that have been freshly cut. A wet saw cuts in a straight line, and they are used for cutting hard materials such as tile, stone, ceramic, porcelain, crockery, and many other types of materials. The wet saw has a water pump and hose that constantly keeps the cutting area wet, and this helps reduce the friction, cools the surface, and keeps the silica dust down. There's a large variety of wet saws in the marketplace, and they range in size and price, but keep in mind they can be pretty messy to work with. Always read the manufacturer's safety and technical information before purchasing to make sure it's going to suit your project or needs. The manual tabletop tile cutter comes in many different sizes and brands, each ranging in different prices. These are used for creating straight score lines for breaking down large tiles. The breaks are generally a lot more accurate than scoring and breaking by hand. These clay sculpting and dentist tools come in so handy when you're working on a mosaic in the studio. Whether it's pushing or lifting or moving or scraping, adhesive or tessera, these small tools are invaluable. And I always find myself reaching for one when I'm working on a mosaic. I don't think you can have too many of any of these types of tools. Beetle Bits is a repetitive straight line scorer that's suitable for scoring stained glass and mirror. It's suited for right or left-handed people, and the waffle panel surface area can be added to increase its size. Accessories for this unit are also available. Well, I hope this video has helped you. I hope it's given you some clarity on choosing tools for your next project. And if you have any comments, put them down in the bottom of the comments section of the YouTube channel. Perhaps you've got a favourite tool that you use that I haven't mentioned, or perhaps you've used one of the tools for doing something else that I haven't mentioned. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have any comments, put them down in the bottom of the comments section, and I'll see you in the next video. Enjoy.